Hi, and welcome to another video for Miss Elsa. She's really starting to open up a little bit. She's a little less nervous, a little bit less panting while we're working together. And she seems to understand the concepts that I'm teaching her a little bit better. Still not taking food, but that's okay. So I was happy to just play with her, with me and her, but there was a little bit of a leash grab right there when she got aroused. So she went to go bite her leash, and I very quickly found a toy, and I tossed her that toy instead. You'll see when I play with her that I don't take the toy away, because the first and second session that I worked with her and we introduced the toy, she was a little reserved about sharing it with me, which makes sense because we did not have a relationship built at that point. So I want to let her know that I'm not going to take the toy away from her. It's not going to be a bad thing. It's not that she was guarding it. It's that she just felt uncomfortable with me taking it. So you'll see that I more so just run around with her and make it a game. These are some door manners. So what I'm doing is, because she struggles so hard at the door sometimes because of the excitement level, is we're walking to the door. It's actually locked here, so I can't open it. I'll jiggle the handle. Nothing happens. We walk away. So what I'm doing in doing this is decreasing the excitement level with the door. So if every time we do something, magical, fun, exciting things happen, of course it's going to build an association with that thing, that every time that thing happens, so walking up to the door, the arousal level is going to go way up. So the way that we manage that too is by doing that thing, and then nothing fun happens. So we're kind of decreasing the excitement level mentally. It's the same thing with, when you pick up your dog's leash, they get super excited and start bouncing off the walls because they know they're going to go on a walk. So I recommend this if she's at home and you pick up the leash and she starts doing that, and she gets overexcited, overstimulated, and has a little bit trouble controlling herself, is just pick up the leash, let her kind of have her fun time for a second, and then put the leash back down, and then repeat that throughout the day. You don't necessarily just want to do this during a training session, because then she'll catch on and know when you're actually going to go through a door or not. But it's good to just randomly walk up to doors in the house that she struggles with and practice this. So you'll see that we walk towards the door. If she charges ahead of me, we stop, turn around, repeat. But if she walks with me, we can go all the way up to the door together. So we just repeat that, trying to walk close to the door, goes in front of me, stops, turns around, until she's able to walk with me, and then we go up to the door. I do find that I like to use more spatial pressure with her, like right there, of just taking a step towards her, because she gets so hyper-focused on the door and the little crack when it opens that I want to create a little bit of space, because it's easier for her to make better decisions when we do that. And I never ask her for a sit at the door, but sometimes she offers it. A lot of times dogs with excitement issues need something to do in place of not doing anything. So like at the door, I'm asking her to not do anything, which is really hard. So she's giving me something else, which is sitting, which is a good choice. But I'm not going to cue her to sit, because I don't want to have to do that every time we walk through a door. But if she does sit, I will say good, and I'll let her know with my tone of voice that that's a good choice. And you'll see with the door open, she is more excited, so it takes a couple repetitions of walking towards the door, turning around, walking away, until we are able to walk together towards the door and go through. Throughout this video, she responds a lot better to leash pressure than she has in the past. She does not, when she turns on the leash pressure, it's definitely not as intense. She kind of hits the end of the leash, might stop for a moment, but then she comes right back. And you'll be able to see the tension in the leash that I'm talking about. It's more minimal now than it was before. We practiced some leash pressure sits, which she got, whether I said the word sit or not. She's starting to associate that leash pressure upwards means to put her butt down. And she does super duper good and responds very quickly, so I praise her every time she does that.
Yes, good girl. Good job. Yeah, she's a good girl.
The leash pressure sit is mostly just teaching her that leash pressure has meaning in different contexts and teaching her that it is directional. So what I mean by directional is like right there, I led her to the bed with the leash. Whereas if I move the leash upwards and apply tension that way, it means to sit. And then eventually I'd like to work with her too to understand that downwards leash pressure means down. Then we worked on place, and so I introduced kind of the obligation to stay on place if I say the word. So I'm still only saying place as she's walking onto the bed because I'm still trying to create the association that that word means that thing. She doesn't quite get that yet, and that's totally fine. We're still early on in the training. So I want to make sure that I'm just naming it as she does it. I start to create some distance. So the things you need to work on with dogs when you teach a new behavior is at first you introduce duration, and then you introduce distance because you can't really have distance without duration. And then the last thing you do is add in distractions. So like we're going to use this for when visitors come over so that she doesn't jump and be super duper excited all over them. So we will introduce that much later because right now we're just getting the basic behavior down of just being able to stay on the bed. You'll notice that when I have her on the bed, the leash is always loose. So that coincides with our leash pressure training for walking and with sitting and things like that. That when the leash is loose, nothing needs to change. You're doing great. But if there's tension on the leash, like if she steps off of the bed a little bit later, you'll see I put tension back on and guide her back onto the bed. It's not a lot, just enough to get her attention and guide her in the way that I'm looking to. I will also never cue her to sit or down or do anything on place because place is a command in of itself. But if she does lay down, I will more heavily reward her because it is good to be able to settle on the place bed and be calm. But that is not a requirement. As long as all 4 feet are on the bed, she is completing the place command. So I'll start walking around the place bed a little bit to let her know that even if I'm moving, she doesn't need to get off. That's not the expectation. And you can definitely use her getting a little bit distracted to your advantage. Like if she stares at the door or the window or she hears dogs barking but stays on there, that's technically duration. Even if she's a little bit distracted, she's still thinking about where her body is and where her feet are. There, I used spatial pressure to get her back on the bed. Worked wonderfully, and when she got back on the bed, she laid down, and that's good. But one thing to notice is that I don't reward her right after I've corrected her. So if she steps off of the bed before I've said the word okay, and she gets back on, I'll say good, but I won't go in and I won't pet her. Because what may start to happen, which happens with very smart dogs, which she is smart, is that they will start to step off of the bed so that you can put them back on so that you will reward them. So we don't want to create that habit. So I know I said that I don't ask for a down on the bed, but she had just laid down on the floor and seemed pretty apt to do so. I think this is right after we played with that toy. And so I wanted her to do another place command and I wanted her to know that she was allowed to lay down on the place bed because she was a little bit tired. So I didn't tell her to down. I just kind of patted on the bed a little bit, and she did it. And then I can reward her for that because it's not technically a command. So if she stands up, she's not breaking a command. So this is the next step too, is dropping the leash, but still having it accessible so that if she did get off or if she saw something she wanted and bolted off of it, we could step on the leash or grab the leash pretty easily. But still having the leash on for the sake of being able to, you know, kind of control where she goes and stay engaged with the training session. You'll see I lay it out really nicely so that if she was to get distracted by something or if somebody walked in, I could step on it. And in moments like this, where we're starting to drop the leash, I prefer to use spatial pressure. She really doesn't take much. I just step towards her and she steps back. And then I ask for a little bit of duration, and then I'll go back and reward her for staying on the place bed. Definitely a whole lot easier to do place training when they are tired, as you can see. And then I say okay, and I add that little bit of movement from my arms. I do that subconsciously, but she understands that that means that she can also get off when paired with the word okay. I like to add a little bit of movement so that they understand, because they don't inherently know what okay means. It's just a release word. Some more door manners as we leave at the end of our session. And she does super good, actually. She waits. And then I give her the okay and we walk through calmly together, which is totally ideal